Throughout Israel's history, one sin kept returning like a shadow that would not lift idolatry. The people whom God delivered from Egypt, the nation that saw fire on Sinai, the ones who heard his voice and walked under his covenant, chose to bow to other gods. They built altars not in secret caves, but on the high places, visible hills, elevated platforms, the very places God had forbidden. There they burned incense to Baal, offered sacrifices to Molech, and gave their worship to idols made by human hands. But behind those carved images, something sinister waited. The hidden meaning here is that idolatry isn't neutral, it's spiritual adultery and communion with demonic powers. Israel thought they were choosing other options. But in reality, they were aligning themselves with the kingdom of darkness. When they lifted their hands to idols, they were not worshiping stone. They were giving covenant to spirits, fallen powers that hungered for blood, devotion, and control. God called it spiritual adultery. Why? Because worship is covenant intimacy. To turn from the living God to a false one is not just disobedience, it's betrayal of the deepest kind. High places became more than physical locations. They became spiritual gateways. Every idol raised on a hill was an altar where demonic influence was welcomed into the land, and with it came moral decay, confusion, bloodshed, and the loss of divine protection. This isn't ancient history alone. Today, idols wear different faces: money, power, status, pleasure, self. Altars are no longer just on mountaintops but in hearts, homes, and cultures. Anything exalted above God becomes a high place, and every high place invites a spiritual ruler. God's response to Israel was clear: tear down the high places. He demanded not half-hearted loyalty, but total devotion. He wanted his people to understand worship shapes reality. 3. Reminders from this story. Worship is warfare. Every altar empowers a spirit, holy or unholy. High places start in the heart. What we love most becomes what we serve. True revival requires tearing down idols. God does not coexist with rivals. Idolatry isn't a harmless tradition. It's a spiritual transaction. And in Israel's case, it led to exile, judgment, and darkness. But where repentance came, mercy flowed again. So today, the call is the same. Tear down the high places. Break covenant with every false god. Return to the one who alone is worthy. Let worship belong to no other name but His.